degradation. And so when you do this, so many mines will open up. There are immediate short-term threats to the tiger habitat because of that. The overburden from the mine, the disturbance because of so many people who will come start working on it. The groundwater will get contaminated. There will be pollution worries. That's a short term. But the long term is that the rainfall regime of that area will change, and it will also affect it. There will be desertification. There will be biodiversity loss. All these are cascading effects that we cannot reverse. And so already what is protected should be protected. There will be commercial interest always, but the trade-off in these kind of minimalistic areas should always be in the favor of wildlife, because we have not achieved much by converting 95% of our forests, 95% of our country.
Save up to £462 in your car insurance when you've just used Confused.com.
I have a life too, Bill. Who had the calamari? It was for the table. I didn't eat any calamari, so I'm not paying for any calamari. What are you, 7? That's for crumpets, sweetheart.
Our relationship with money is formed from a young age. That's why our expert team is here, to help you take control of your money today. Barclays, make money work for you.
Oh, wasn't he lovely? That young man at Avanti Travel Insurance.
Yeah, very.
He was so reassuring. They covered all our medical conditions, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Your diabetes, my dodgy hip.
And the rest.
Even at your age, love. Love?
Oh, great.
Oh, love.
Avanti Travel Insurance cover most pre-existing health conditions for all ages. That's travel reassurance. Call or go online.
I knew I should have got the flamingo.
I'm in. Okay, now, you can have a great first day. I promise, all right? Give me that.
Your donations helped 3D print his heart to guide his surgery, and saved his life with a groundbreaking innovation. And the future breakthrough that could cure her is closer than ever. Help us turn science fiction into reality and save more lives like hers. Donate to the British Heart Foundation now.
With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, you're guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Visit postoffice.co.uk/over50s.
Someone's happy. Get that lucky cow feeling with luckycowbingo.com/bingo. The site that's bursting with beautiful bingo games. 75 ball bingo. Even 90 ball bingo. Fill your bingo boots today. Get that lucky cow feeling at luckycowbingo.com/bingo or download the Lucky Cow Android app from the Play Store.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Well, thanks for staying with NDTV. You're tuned into the Monday edition of the World Report with me, Arjun, Samar, Mahendran. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar will visit the United States from the 30th of June to the 2nd of July at the invitation of US Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Now, during the visit, he will take part in the next edition of the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting, or the QFMM, scheduled for July 1 in Washington, D.C. Now, the Quad Foreign Ministers will continue discussions from their last meeting held in the same venue on the 21st of January earlier this year. They will share views on important regional and global issues, especially those related to the Indo-Pacific. The ministers will also review the progress made on various Quad projects ahead of the Quad Leaders Summit, which will in fact be hosted by India. My colleague Mohammad Ghazali. And for our viewers just joining in, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will visit the US from 30th of June to the 2nd of July at the invitation of US Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Now, during this visit, he will take part in the next edition of the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting scheduled for July 1 in Washington, D.C. Now, the Quad Foreign Ministers will continue discussions from their last meeting held in the same venue on the 21st of January earlier this year. They will share views on important regional and global issues, especially those related to the Indo-Pacific. The ministers will also review progress made on various Quad projects ahead of the Quad Leaders Summit, the all-important summit, in fact, which will be hosted by India. Russia has launched its largest terror attack since the war began, firing over 500 aerial weapons at Ukraine overnight Saturday. Kiev says 477 drones and decoys, along with 60 missiles, were unleashed, with 475 being shot down. Still, strikes at regions far from the front line, killing at least 2 and injuring 12 others, including children, as is being claimed by Kiev. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says the attack proves Putin isn't in fact serious about peace and is in fact urging stronger international support and US air defense systems as well. Meanwhile, a Ukrainian F-16 pilot died after taking down 7 targets before his damaged jet eventually crashed. Amid the chaos, Ukraine is now moving to withdraw from the global landmine ban, citing Russia's use of banned weapons. The war is escalating, and Ukraine says global pressure is needed now more than it ever was. Comments on the massive attack launched by Russia on Ukraine. And, there seems to be no let-up. And though there have been some signs of a possible peace, now it almost appears impossible in a hopeless situation, sir.
Last night's bombing was the latest in a series of such attacks. It was, the Ukrainians say, it was the largest single bombing attack of the entire war. Now that's difficult to quantify because Russia uses different types of ordnance in these attacks. So it's hard to compare in terms of quantities, in terms of the drones they use, the different types of missiles and so forth. But it was certainly one of the biggest. And this has been an ongoing trend that we've seen in recent months, essentially since January, since Donald Trump returned to the White House. So clearly, we're not moving towards peace. There's almost no sign that we're moving toward any sort of settlement. On the contrary, Russia is escalating its air attacks. The volumes we're seeing now are around double what we were seeing last December before Trump was inaugurated. So the trend is quite clearly away from a peace settlement, and the only real talk of peace we're hearing is coming from America. The Ukrainians themselves have said they're ready for a ceasefire. They said that back in March. Russia so far has refused to join them in supporting a ceasefire, and everything we're seeing from the Russian side indicates that Putin doesn't really have any interest at all in ending the war. On the contrary, he's looking to push ahead and gain more ground.
In a major contradiction to President Donald Trump's claims, the UN's nuclear watchdog says Iran could very well restart enriching uranium in just a matter of months and not decades. In fact, in a Fox News interview only hours ago, Trump insisted that Washington hit Iran's sights hard and that they were on the verge of building a bomb. Meanwhile, IAEA chief Rafael Grossi says Iran still has the tech and the know-how as well and could spin up uranium enrichment quickly if it chooses to do so. US intel also suggests Iran may have moved key materials before the strikes. Meanwhile, Tehran is threatening to pull out of key nuclear agreements with the IAEA. So while the bombs hit hard, experts say Iran's nuclear ambitions may be down, but they're definitely not out. Here's more.
When you went to the Middle East and you strengthened those relationships with all of those countries you just mentioned, did you have an idea that you would have to do something with regard to Iran? Because you teased it a little. You said, look, they've got to come to the table and talk. Something's going to happen.
Well, it was getting a little bit hot, and we knew they had a lot of sites, probably 3 plus the one, but they had 3 main sites, and we knew they were going to have to either give them up. And I thought we could do it during negotiation, and we just about had it done. And then they said, we want enrichment. Enrichment doesn't mean like air conditioning, and it doesn't mean to jack up your car. Enrichment is a bad word. And I said, you got so much oil, what do you need that for? And they said, well, we need it. And I wouldn't let that happen. I think people wouldn't have understood it if I allowed that to happen. So we had a 60-day talk, and that delayed them a lot. And then we said, let's go at it. And it just worked out. And we wanted to work out also for Iran. They were beaten up, and so was Israel. In all fairness, they were both very tight. We call it the 12-day war. That was an intensive war. But the thing that I wanted to do, and I've said it on your show, if you look back 30 years ago or 25 years, we've been doing your show a long time, and nobody like you. But you look back at the early interviews, I would say Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. They've wanted this for years, and they were weeks away from getting it. And those pilots went in there with those beautiful planes and the most sophisticated bombs anywhere in the world. Think of it, they can go 30 stories deep into granite. Who would think that's even possible? And they did obliterate it, it turned out. Then we had to suffer the fake news, where the fake news in CNN and the New York Times was saying, well, maybe it wasn't as good as Trump said. Maybe it wasn't totally obliterated, but it was destroyed, but not, just horrible.
At least 71 people were killed in Israel's attack on Tehran's Evin province, a notorious facility where many political prisoners and dissidents have been, in fact, held, Iran's judiciary has said on Sunday. Judiciary spokesperson Jaishankar posted on the office's official Mizan news agency website that those killed on Monday included staff, soldiers, prisoners, and members of visiting families as well. It was, however, not possible to independently verify these claims being made by Iran. When the West Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said trade talks with the US have resumed after Canada has rescinded its plan to tax US tech firms. That's correct. Canada has scrapped its digital services tax targeting US technology firms late on Sunday. It came just hours before it was due to take effect in a bid to, in fact, advance stalled trade negotiations with Washington. Meanwhile, Trump abruptly called off trade talks on Friday over the tax targeting US technology firms, saying that it was a blatant attack. Canada and the US will resume trade negotiations in order to agree on a deal by the 21st of July. Meanwhile, my colleague Maha Siddiqui unpacks the latest from Vancouver.
2 days after President Trump said that he will halt the trade talks with Canada over the digital services tax, Canada has now rescinded this tech tax to be able to resume the trade talks with the United States. The trade talks between the two sides are supposed to wrap up by the 21st of July, which is the deadline that has been set by the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, after which the US is going to decide on reciprocal tariffs if a trade deal is not struck between the two sides to respond to the United States punishing tariffs on Canada. Currently, the US tariffs imposed against Canada include a 25% tariff on the automobile sector, 50% tariff on aluminum and steel, and 10% tariff on the energy that Canada exports to the United States. Now, the DST, which is the digital services tax that was the latest beef that Trump had with Canada, was implemented last year, but the first payment of that was due tomorrow, that is Monday, here in Canada. And President Trump raised a stinker over it. Meanwhile, the USTR, that is the United States trade representative had been raising this issue with Canada since last year and had also taken this for dispute settlement under CUSMA, which is the trade agreement between Mexico, Canada, and the United States. Canada's contention or argument for DST was that if Canadian data is being used by these big tech and e-commerce platforms for advertising, for marketplace, for selling products, then part of their revenue should be taxed by Canada as well. But for the time being, since the Canadian side has decided that they will rescind this tax for the sake of resuming the talks with the United States, the tax or the DST and the payments that were due by Monday will be halted, and it now remains to be seen how the two sides are able to take the conversation forward on the trade talks. So far, Canada has been tight-lipped on the negotiations continuing between the two sides. In Vancouver, this is Maha Siddiqui for NDTV.
Well, sticking with Canada for now, the country is opening new doors in 2025 for displaced people and skilled refugees. It is offering them a permanent way to live and work in the country. The federal government will roll out a new immigration pathway, building on the success of the Economic Mobility Pathways Pilot, or the EMPP, which has already helped nearly 1,000 people to settle in the country. My colleague Maha gets you the latest here.
This is at the moment speculated that this will become a permanent pathway for PR. At the moment, this was a pilot project that was launched in 2018 till 2023, then extended to December 2025. It has been fairly successful. This year, we are seeing that the no-job offer stream has already closed in half the year because there are the number of applicants that they require already there. As far as the other ways of getting into the EMPP is concerned, which is this pilot program that we're talking about. There is the Atlantic immigration, the provincial and the regional immigration, which is for the northern territories, that again at the moment has been closed. So you can clearly see the number of people coming in through this pathway, which is a pilot program so far, is already fairly robust. And therefore, at the moment, it is being speculated that this will be turned into a permanent pathway for PR after December 31st this year. But we'll have to wait for a final word from IRCC.
We shift focus to America's west coast, where two firefighters were killed Sunday and another was wounded when they were ambushed by a sniper fire while responding to a blaze in a northern Idaho mountain community. This as crews endured a barrage of gunfire over several hours that the governor has termed a heinous assault. A shelter-in-place order was lifted, however, Sunday night after a tactical response team discovered the body of the alleged suspect with a firearm nearby. The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office has underlined. Officials did not release his name, nor did they say what kind of gun was found till now. Meanwhile, authorities are planning a news conference later today to provide more information about the incident and the casualties incurred. Thousands of protesters gathered in front of the Georgian parliament in Tbilisi on Sunday to mark the beginning of the 7th month of non-stop protests calling for the new parliamentary elections and the release of prisoners, in fact, arrested during a government crackdown on protesters and political opponents alike. Nearly all leaders of Georgia's pro-Western opposition are now behind bars. This as protests continue against the ruling Georgian Dream Party and its decision, in fact, last year to halt Georgia's bid to join the European Union. Now, the demonstrators who gathered daily in the capital Tbilisi also claim that the vote on the 26th of October that handed Georgian Dream another term in power was not free or fair. Scorching heat is sweeping across Europe, with Spain, Italy and the Balkans recording temperatures above 44 degrees Celsius. That's right. If you're an Indian traveller on a European summer holiday or heading there, Parmeshwar Baba takes you through what you need to know.
If you're holidaying in Europe this summer, brace yourself. It's not just the gelato that's melting. A massive record-smashing heat wave is sweeping across Europe, turning iconic cities into virtual ovens. With temperatures soaring past the 45 degrees Celsius mark in places like Spain and Italy, Several countries have issued red and amber health warnings. If we talk about Spain, El Granado just broke its all-time June record with a blistering 46 degrees Celsius. And southern Spain is the worst hit. Locals say even fans are giving up. In Barcelona, a woman tragically died after working outdoors in the extreme heat. And Italy's hospitals, they are reporting a surge in heat stroke. The elderly, cancer patients, and the homeless are most at risk. Cities like Bologna and Naples are opening cooling shelters and also giving free pool access to seniors. Believe it or not, in Lisbon, pharmacists are warning tourists to avoid stepping out all day when the sun is out because burns and exhaustion cases are rising. Serbia hit its highest ever temperature, and Slovenia and North Macedonia, well, they clocked over 40 degrees Celsius. So what exactly is behind the scorching heat? Well, a stubborn high-pressure zone is trapping dry, hot air over Europe. The result? A heat dome that's cooking the continent. And scientists say climate change is making such extreme heat waves 10 times more likely than before industrial times.
And Colombia's capital was alive with music and dancing on Sunday as the annual Pride Parade took over the streets of Bogota. In the crowds gathered, rainbow flags and banners with messages such as "There's nothing to cure" could be seen above the sea of colorful costumes, as you see on your screens right now. Meanwhile, some also marched with posters to raise awareness of violence against transgender people in the country. In the Andean country, viewers, the increase in crimes against members of the LGBTQIA+ population has generated an alert from none other than the Attorney General's office, which on Saturday, this weekend, in fact, reported 46 murders so far this year and 3,769 threats in recent years. Well, it's time we step into a short break. I'll be right back.
Hey, Sainsbury's. They're growing quicker than my budget. Any help?
Well, colleagues like Charlotte here are always lowering prices with Nectar and matching prices with Aldi, day and night. From strawberry season to spooky season. Through cold and rain
And tropical sunshine?
through tropical sunshine indeed. Because we're always matching and lowering prices. Sainsbury's, good food for all of us. Wow, they really did grow quickly.
Family life. It's made of ups and downs, and those little moments. But should the unthinkable happen to you? Life insurance from Legal & General can help look after monthly bills, the roof over their heads, childcare costs, and most importantly, your family. Because no one protects more families in the UK than us. Premiums start from £5 a month and they never rise. Plus there's a £100 gift card after you apply. Legal & General. Ensure life goes on.
Discover the finest quality made-to-measure blinds, shutters and curtains at Blinds Direct. A huge selection of beautiful window dressings to suit every room. Handmade here in the UK with a 5-year guarantee for your peace of mind. Order your free samples today and choose your perfect design. Exclusively online, delivered direct to your door. Shop now for 30% off selected products at Blinds Direct. Create your dream home with blindsdirect.co.uk.
I've been thinking, I want to plan my funeral so it feels more like a celebration. My parents always said I was born dancing. I just love it. Bhangra, disco, even line dancing. So when my time comes, I want to have music, dancing, the lot.
With over 150 years' experience, you can count on Co-op Funeral Care to help you pre-plan the funeral you want. To find out more, visit Co-op Funeral Care or give us a call.
Shredded wheat is one ingredient, whole grain wheat. Simple. Rudy's an engineer. Not simple. We do a high fibre breakfast. Simple. Rudy invents this stuff. Yeah, not simple. We'll stick to the simple stuff. Shredded wheat. It simply does it.
At Direct Line, we know that for multi-property landlords, sometimes the tiniest of things can turn into way bigger problems. From niggly contract issues to keeping up with ever-changing legislation. That's why Direct Line's landlord insurance offers a 24/7 legal helpline as standard. Because a call with someone could help to make the hairiest of problems feel that little bit smoother. Search Direct Line Landlord Insurance. We're on it.
that lucky cow feeling with luckycowbingo.com/bingo, the site that's bursting with beautiful bingo games. That's luckycowbingo.com/bingo.
Welcome back. You're watching the Monday edition of the World Report on NDTV. India's astronaut group captain Subhanshu Shukla said he was suffering from space sickness. Now in an exclusive with NDTV, European Space Agency's flight surgeon Dr. Bridget Goddard assures that group captain Shukla is medically fit for space. With years of fighter pilot training and dedicated medical oversight, India's astronaut is ready, in fact, to take on the rigors of microgravity. NDTV science editor Pallav Bagla reports from New Delhi that each astronaut has a family physician attached to take care. Here's a report.
Space is the last frontier, but for astronauts, it also poses many challenges for the human body. I have with me Dr. Bridget Goddard. Namaskar, ma'am. She is a medical person and has been a flight surgeon for many astronauts. Thanks a lot. Dr. Bridget, what does a flight surgeon do? Do you do surgery for astronauts in space, or what do you do?
Oh, hopefully we are not doing surgery in space. We have kind of family doctor for the astronauts, and we are doing telemedicine, so we exchange during their flight every week with them to check every medical point. And as your astronaut is a fighter pilot, is
Group Captain Shukla.
Captain Shukla is a really well-trained. He has many years background of fighter pilots, so he will be safe, and he has a good flight surgeon taking care of him, and he will have a safe trip, and everything should be fine.
So there would be changes in biology, in his physiology, but they would be manageable.
Absolutely, and this is a short flight, so we could expect maybe some space motion sickness, but I would not expect that much problem.
So his flight surgeon would take care of him.
Yes, his flight surgeon is already taking care since many years, because we started a long time before and then still know him perfectly well.
So you're assuring me that 1.4 billion Indians need not worry about the health of Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla in space.
Captain Shukla should be very fine in space, and they will be proud of him. I'm sure of that.
Thanks a lot for speaking to me. So that was Dr. Bridget Goddard, a medical doctor, somebody who's been a flight surgeon. Flight surgeon doesn't seem a good word. So a family physician for the astronaut. Group Captain Shukla also has a family physician attached to him. And Dr. Bridget tells me he should be fine because he's a fighter pilot who's trained well. In New Delhi, Pallav Bagla for NDTV.
Blue Origin's new Shepherd successfully launched 6 people on a short trip into space and returned them back to Earth on Sunday morning. Now, the capsule touched down in the desert in West Texas roughly 10 minutes after launching. The company says this launch was its 13th human space flight and the 33rd flight for the new Shepherd program. News from the world of business now. US President Donald Trump has said he has a buyer for TikTok, the video sharing app that was banned in the US amid claims it posted a national security risk to the country. In a Fox News interview only hours ago, Trump said he had a group of very wealthy people willing to acquire the platform. I'll tell you in about 2 weeks, Trump teased. A sale would need approval from the Chinese government, of course, but Trump told Fox he thought President Xi Jinping would probably do it. Now, this month, Trump delayed for a 3rd time the enforcement of a law mandating TikTok's sale. NVIDIA insiders have reportedly sold over $1 billion worth of company stock in the past year alone, with a notable uptick in recent trading activity as executives capitalize on surging investor interest in the artificial intelligence sector. Now, more than $500 billion of the share sales took place this month itself, as the California-based chip designer's share price climbed to an all-time high, according to a report. England will aim to take a 2-0 lead in the 5-match test series when Ben Stokes' men take on Shubman Gill's team India in the second test starting the 2nd of July at Edgbaston in Birmingham. Now, the gap of over a week between the first and the second test has given both teams the opportunity to re-strategize. And there's growing support for including Kuldeep Yadav in India's playing 11, while it will be interesting, of course, to see whether Jofra Archer returns to the England lineup after a 4-year absence from the longest format of the game. However, the final playing 11s for both the teams will be decided based on the pitch and prevailing weather conditions. The Red Bull Motorsport advisor Helmut Marko described Max Verstappen's elimination from the Austrian Grand Prix as a black day, admitting the world champion's title ambitions were indeed all but over. Now, the remarks were echoed by team principal Christian Horner, who concluded the title fight was now a two-horse race. McLaren's Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri achieved a dominant 1-2, but Verstappen played no part in proceedings after he was struck by the Mercedes of Kimi Antonelli and turn 3 on the opening lap, knocking, in fact, both cars out of the race. It leaves Verstappen 61 points adrift of Piastri in the championship, a lead that appears all but impossible to bridge given the pace advantage the McLaren currently enjoys over the rest of the field. So that's all we have for you on this Monday edition of the World Report. Take care and have a wonderful day.
Sun bingo. Are you gonna bingo?
I think I'm gonna bingo. Hey, Charlie 64, are you gonna bingo?
Hey, Sassy Sam. Yeah, I'm gonna bingo. Hazza 93, are you gonna bingo?
Oh, hey, Charlie 64. Yeah, I'm defo gonna bingo. How about you, Lucky Mouse? You gonna bingo?
Not right now. I'm in the Zen zone.
We all need some time out, so play safely and only for fun on Sun Bingo.
Now that retirement's here, it's time for me to focus on the things that really matter in life, like making sure my family can manage funeral costs when I'm no longer around. Which reminds me,
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK. UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
That money could help cover my funeral costs or be a gift for my grandson. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free life insurance quote today, call our UK team on 0800 881 5090 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
And here's the dining room. There's a lovely garden, plenty of room for a trampoline. It's beautiful.
Our relationship with money is formed from a young age.
Nice to meet you both. Well, we've seen a house we really like.
That's why we're here to help you take control and find a mortgage that suits you, whether you're buying, moving, or looking for a better rate. Barclays. Make money work for you.
As a dad, I know life's unpredictable. It's all fun and games until it's not.
You okay?
I want my kids to always be looked after. That's why I'm not putting things off anymore and protecting the life we've built by calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, how can I help?
Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
Okay, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
Brilliant.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought, and could help my wife pay off the mortgage.
With our Smart Family Guarantee, you'll have peace of mind.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free life insurance quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 6797 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, We are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
Hello and welcome. You're watching India Global. I'm Gauri Dwivedi. Over the course of the next 30 minutes, we'll get you all the stories that matter to the global Indian. But first up, as always, we start with headlines. Big international story. We are tracking Iran's top cleric issues a fatwa against Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. IEA chief, meanwhile, says that Iran could resume Iranian enrichment within months. Is the Middle East set for another turmoil? We decode. Trump's mega bill clears the Senate hurdle 51 to 49. How will Trump's big, beautiful bill impact the world economy and India? We tell you. Massive protests